The oak-paneled House Judiciary Committee hearing room buzzed with intensity. Voices overlapped in passionate debate as representatives from both sides spoke simultaneously, creating a whirlwind of sound. The chairman, gripping his gavel, called for order, his voice barely rising above the clamor. At the heart of this charged atmosphere was Representative Jasmine Carter, who had just presented compelling evidence that challenged the testimony of a key witness. The witness, a corporate executive facing scrutiny over his company's safety practices, sat quietly, his expression tense, as Carter carefully outlined inconsistencies between his statements and internal company records. As the room reached a fever pitch, a single voice broke through the chaos.
"Point of order, Mr. Chairman."
The room fell silent. Representative Michael Grayson, known for his bold and principled stance as a conservative, stood tall, his gaze fixed on Carter across the aisle. The tension was electric. Grayson and Carter had sparred in past hearings, their exchanges often marking the most intense moments of committee proceedings. Everyone anticipated another heated clash. "Mr. Chairman," Grayson continued, his tone calm yet resolute, "I request unanimous consent to address the committee for 2 minutes regarding what we've just witnessed." The chairman, caught off guard, nodded in agreement, and a hush settled over the room. All eyes shifted between Grayson and Carter. Reporters leaned in, pens poised, while staffers exchanged curious glances. No one could predict what would happen next. This moment of unexpected civility was about to spark a broader conversation, one that would resonate far beyond the hearing room. To fully appreciate its significance, we must first explore the backgrounds of these two lawmakers and the history of their dynamic. Michael Grayson, 42, has built a reputation as a steadfast advocate for limited government, representing a coastal district since 2016. A lawyer by training, Grayson earned his degree from a prestigious university and practiced law before entering politics. His sharp questioning in committee hearings and unwavering commitment to his principles have made him a prominent figure in Congress, often drawing both admiration and critique. Jasmine Carter, 43, brings a contrasting perspective. Elected in 2022 to represent an urban district, Carter rose to prominence as a civil rights attorney and public defender. With a law degree from a respected institution, she spent years advocating for underserved communities, giving her a deep understanding of how laws impact everyday people. In Congress, Carter has become a leading voice on issues like justice reform and civic engagement, earning respect for her clear reasoning and ability to bridge complex ideas with practical solutions. The history between Grayson and Carter had been marked by spirited debates, with each fiercely defending their views. Their latest encounter unfolded during a House Judiciary Committee hearing on a proposed bill about federal oversight of local agencies. The room had been charged all morning, with clear divisions shaping every exchange. What are your thoughts on moments of civility in today's polarized political climate? Do they signal hope for collaboration, or are they fleeting pauses in ongoing debates? Share your perspective in the comments. We'd love to hear from viewers who recall a time when cross-party cooperation was more common. The hearing room, nestled in a historic congressional building, was packed that morning. Ornate wood paneling gleamed under bright lights as lawmakers prepared for what many expected to be another day of sharp exchanges. Cameras from major networks captured every moment, broadcasting the proceedings to audiences nationwide. The focus was H.R. 4829, the Accountability and Transparency Act, a bill that had sparked intense debate. Supporters argued it would ensure fairness in agency operations, while critics viewed it as excessive federal involvement. The morning had followed a predictable pattern. One side emphasized accountability, the other championed local autonomy. Witnesses reinforced each side's stance, and meaningful dialogue seemed out of reach. When Jasmine Carter's turn to question witnesses arrived, some members appeared distracted, checking devices or murmuring among themselves, assuming her remarks would align with the usual script. But Michael Grayson remained attentive, his expression neutral as Carter began. "I'd like to address Director Thompson," Carter said, turning to a public official invited by the opposing side. Director Sarah Thompson, who led a mid-sized agency, had expressed concerns about the bill's feasibility, citing its impact on smaller organizations. What followed broke from the expected routine. "Director Thompson, I've listened carefully to your concerns," Carter began, her tone collaborative rather than confrontational, "and I believe there's merit to your points about the administrative challenges in Section 4. The room shifted subtly. Distracted lawmakers looked up, surprised by Carter's acknowledgement.
Thompson, expecting a challenge, visibly relaxed.
As someone who's worked closely with community organizations, I understand how well-intentioned policies can create unintended burdens, Carter continued.
Could you elaborate on the specific challenges smaller agencies might face under these requirements?
Thompson offered a detailed response, explaining how limited resources could strain compliance efforts.
Carter listened intently, nodding thoughtfully.
"Thank you, Director," Carter said.
"That's very insightful. Would a staggered implementation timeline, tailored to agency size, help address those concerns? For instance, giving smaller organizations more time to adapt?"
Thompson considered the suggestion. "Yes, that would make a significant difference," she replied. "A tiered approach based on resources would ease the transition."
Carter then took an unexpected step.
"Mr. Chairman, based on this feedback, I'd like to collaborate with my colleagues across the aisle to propose an amendment addressing these practical concerns. Effective policies must work for those implementing them, not just sound good on paper." The room fell silent. In a setting where posturing often overshadowed progress, Carter had prioritized practical solutions over political wins. The chairman, known for his assertive style, seemed momentarily surprised. "Thank you, Representative Carter.
We'll consider that proposal," he said.
The atmosphere in the room shifted, with staffers and reporters sensing something rare had occurred.
Thompson appeared relieved, her concerns acknowledged rather than dismissed. But the most striking moment came from Michael Grayson.
As the chairman moved to continue, Grayson raised his hand, requesting to speak out of turn, a rare move signaling something significant. "Mr. Chairman, I'd like to comment on what we just witnessed," Grayson said, his tone carrying a sincerity uncommon in the committee's usual exchanges. "In my years in Congress, I've seen countless hearings dominated by posturing," Grayson began, his voice steady.
But what Representative Carter just demonstrated was different.
She showed a commitment to governance by listening to legitimate concerns and proposing a practical solution. Murmurs spread through the room. Reporters, expecting routine debates, now scribbled furiously. Lawmakers from both sides listened closely, surprised by Grayson's words. The easy move would have been to challenge the director's testimony or dismiss her concerns, Grayson continued. Instead, Representative Carter listened and offered a solution that could make this policy work better in practice. That's the kind of leadership we need more of. Carter maintained a composed demeanor, though her eyes betrayed a hint of surprise. "This isn't about agreeing on the bill's core ideas," Grayson clarified. "I still have concerns about its scope." "But what, Representative?" Carter showed transcends policy differences. "It's about making government work effectively, even when we disagree." He looked directly at Carter. "I want to commend that approach. It reflects what public service should be." The room remained quiet, absorbing the moment. The chairman, visibly adjusting to this break from routine, cleared his throat. "Thank you, Representative Grayson," he said. Then, in a surprising move, Grayson held up a document. "I've drafted an amendment building on Representative Carter's suggestion for a tiered implementation timeline, with added support for smaller agencies through resources and guidance. I'd like to propose this as a bipartisan amendment, with Representative Carter as the lead co-sponsor, if she's willing." Whispers filled the room. Such spontaneous collaboration between ideological opposites was rare. The chairman looked to Carter. "Representative Carter, would you like to respond?" Carter paused, then spoke. "I appreciate Representative Grayson's words. My work in community advocacy taught me that laws must be practical for those they affect. My constituents expect me to solve problems, not just deliver speeches. I'd be happy to review the amendment and work together on a practical approach." The hearing room's atmosphere transformed. What began as a routine debate had evolved into a moment of genuine collaboration. The chairman, still processing the shift, nodded. "That's in order. We'll discuss logistics after the hearing." As the session continued, the tone softened. Lawmakers asked more constructive questions, and witnesses responded with thoughtful insights. When the hearing ended, Grayson approached Carter, and the two engaged in a brief, productive conversation, joined shortly by Director Thompson. The image of representatives from opposite sides collaborating with a public official became a powerful symbol. Reporters quickly surrounded Grayson and Carter. "Does this mean you support the bill?" one asked Grayson. "No," he replied candidly. "I still have reservations, but if a policy is going to pass, it should be practical for those it impacts." "That's just good governance." Carter nodded. "We can disagree on ideas while working together on solutions. That shouldn't be rare, but it's become noteworthy." Within hours, the moment spread online. News outlets highlighted the exchange, with headlines like "Lawmakers Find Common Ground in Heated Hearing" and "A Rare Moment of Collaboration in Congress." Social media buzzed with reactions, reflecting a public eager for such civility. "This is what we need more of," one commenter wrote. "Disagree on policy, but work together on solutions." The next day, both lawmakers faced a flurry of interview requests. On a morning show, Grayson explained, "I haven't changed my principles. I believe in efficient government, but acknowledging practical concerns from any side is part of doing the job." Carter, on another network, noted, "Problem solving shouldn't be headline news. In any other profession, listening and collaborating would be the norm." The impact rippled through the committee. Members began asking more substantive questions, and staff reported increased behind-the-scenes cooperation. Weeks later, the amended bill, co-sponsored by Grayson and Carter, passed the committee with strong support. Agency leaders endorsed the changes, noting they balanced accountability with practicality. The exchange influenced broader political messaging. Lawmakers faced questions from constituents about embracing similar pragmatism. At a town hall, Grayson clarified, "I'll always fight for my principles, but governance requires working together on practical solutions." Carter echoed this in her district, "My work has always been about real-world impact. That's what drives me, not partisan narratives." Months later, Grayson and Carter spoke at a forum on effective governance. "What we showed wasn't about abandoning our views," Grayson told the audience. "It was about prioritizing solutions over posturing." Carter added, "People don't expect us to agree on everything, but they do expect us to govern effectively." When asked for advice to future leaders, Grayson said, "Focus on why you're here, to solve problems, not perform for applause." Carter urged, "Learn from history. Respectful disagreement isn't a lost art, it's a choice we make daily." This moment didn't erase political divides, but it offered a model for constructive dialogue. It showed that acknowledging valid concerns isn't weakness, it's the cornerstone of effective governance. Share your thoughts on this moment of collaboration in the comments. How can lawmakers build on this to address today's challenges?